It's summertime and it's No Prize Podcast. I am the professor. That's Lucas. Oh, no, that's not Lucas. That's Johnny. That's Lucas.
Yeah.
What's going on, guys? My fingers didn't
Cool.
work.
But we're here to give you some cornbread, force feed you some collard greens, and at the end, you're gonna feel like you just ate a whole bowl of chitlins. All right. Um,
A full bowl of something.
yeah. We got a couple of things to talk to you about. We got the movies. We got the movies. We got some TV stuff. There's no Marvel. No Marvel on FOC this week, so 2 minute warning will be quick. I do have some of the books of the year so far from Marvel we can talk about. Um,
All right.
and
Books
then
of the
that's
year.
that's it.
Books of the year.
Well, let's jump right into to Secret Invasion because we liked Disney Plus. First time we have a Marvel show this year, right? So
Hmm.
um, I was looking forward to it. We're 2 episodes in. Um, I'm interested in hearing from Lucas about it. So why don't you tell us what's going on in Secret Invasion? Maybe just do both episodes as one big one. I know that we had the end of episode 1 ended on a cliffhanger, and now
Oh yeah.
tell us
So
what's
I
up.
mean, yeah. So if you've already been watching the MCU, you already know that there's a species out there called the Skrulls, which has the ability to, once they see you, they can um, imitate your face, your body, as well as your powers, apparently, which was always like a weird thing. So in the first episode, they kind of expounded on that, but they kind of said, hey, Skrulls are over here already here, and there's a whole bunch of them, right? More than I thought was possible. Yeah, there's a whole bunch, but now they don't just want to live peacefully with the humans. They would actually want to take over the whole thing at any cost possible. So in the meantime, while there's some scrolls that are working with the United States government and humans, there's another faction, that fourth, fifth column, that's working against humans to make sure the destruction of half the Earth, apparently. So that's kind of what it is, man. And of course, there's spies on both sides, right? People who don't like what's going on. So there's a whole type of spy game that's going on. And in the meantime, the whole big thing that everybody's kind of jittery about is the fact that my man Samuel Ricky Jackson, Nick Fury, is back on Earth, but after he was supposed to be out in space developing this program. I forget what the name of the thing he was
Sword.
He was on Sword. Yes.
Sword.
right. Yeah, but did he call it sword? I think he called it something else.
No, he
Nope. They
mentioned
call it
sword in the
Sword.
first
You got
episode.
it sword? Okay. Um, but yeah, so that's basically it for episode one. I don't know if you guys wanted to talk about that, but I will say this: it took me 5 times to finish episode one. Right, I kept
Really?
falling asleep. Like
Okay.
like I was like, I'd put it on, and that's the I'm out, and freaking like by the time I finished episode one, episode two had already been out, and I would fall asleep, and then episode two would be going. I'm like, wait, what? Hold up, what's going on? So, just um, just woo, just. So I think what actually needed to happen was, and especially in order to make people understand the impact, is instead of just having the scrolls kind of replicate regular ass people, you need to have them replicate freaking superheroes, right? Superheroes that people already know, right? Because for right now, it's just like, okay, got it. They're my wife and my kids. They kind of understand, but they don't feel the full impact. You just give me this one superhero, maybe one that's already dead or something like that, and then they'll like, oh crap, and then just give us one, and then just let the whole rest of the freaking story unfold as people try and fight that battle. But so, what did you guys think?
Johnny.
well, well, Secret Invasion. It's more like a slow invasion. This is absolutely mind-numbingly watch paint dry slow. Couple of things from me from a story point of view. You've got to worry about spy versus spy because it's lazy. It's got to be done right. It's got to be done absolutely perfect. Because if it's not done perfect, what's going to happen is, oh, this guy's a double agent, and then oh, this guy's a triple agent. Oh no, this guy's a quadruple agent. I mean, we've all seen Alias, right? I mean, how many times does she change sides? Yeah.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
and then throw into the mix that anybody could be anybody. We see him as Talos. Is it really Talos? We don't know. It could be a whole Skrull. There's just so many trapdoors for writers to get out of a tricky situation that there is absolutely no massive impact going on whatsoever. I mean, if you think about it, a race of people that can imitate you by looking at you, why are they even bothering to invade in the first place? They could just imitate the president straight away. They could just imitate world leaders. Why are they having to go through all this subterfuge? It makes no logical sense. If you've got the power that you can do that, use the damn thing. It's like, oh, I've got a time machine. I'd love to be able to go back in time and, help the Dolphins win the Super Bowl. But if only I had a time machine, I could do that. But no, I'll keep struggling with the team I've got. It's bollocks. It's bollocks. All right. The idea that you can do all these things and then you're still not using it to the utmost power, crazy. The reason they're not using superheroes in the show is because, as Lucas has mentioned, as soon as a Skrull spots you, they can imitate you, and therefore you don't want Skrull America and Iron Skrull and Skrull Prince of Asgard flying around the place, which then leads up to an interesting counterpoint in that they've already seen Captain Marvel, and yet nobody's decided to imitate her and use her powers. This is absolutely mind-numbingly stupid television, and I don't understand why it has to happen. And also, I don't understand what its impact is.
Right.
That's on me. So I'm going to stick with it. I am going to stick with it because it's going to have a play somewhere along the line in maybe the Marvels movie later this year. Which we all know everything must work out fine, because on that, you've already seen the trailer with Fury on the Sword space station. So everything must work out eventually anyway. So then, again, what's the point of watching this? Because there's no real ramifications. Might as well call this X-Men for the amount of no depth to it that there is. But yeah, I'll stick with it for a while, but I can't believe Disney Plus have gone from like the creative chaos of WandaVision through the political shenanigans of Winter Soldier and Falcon to the time bending bollocks that is Loki that I still haven't seen all of, and now we're back to this. It's like, come on, really? There you go. That's my 2 cents.
All right. Well, I might be the dissenting opinion here because I kind of actually enjoyed this a bit. I kind of felt like the tone was very Winter Soldier-ish, where it was kind of like who's a good guy, who's a bad guy. But I mean, it is kind of in your face, like you don't know who's a Skrull. I thought it was kind of fun in the first episode, where like I'm sitting there going, okay, so I think maybe the key that they're trying to tell you that who a Skrull is, and when you don't know, is that they all had the little beanie hats on. Martin Freeman's character, Everett Ross, he had a beanie on right at the beginning, and then the next person you saw had that beanie hat on was Nick Fury. So I was like, oh, is Nick Fury a Skrull? And I think the jury's still out on that. I think that they might reveal later on that he is a Skrull, especially with the reveal at the end of the second episode that he's married to a Skrull, which is I thought was interesting.
My question, sorry to interject, Professor. My question to this is: does Fury know that he's married to a Skrull? Because he's not kissing what he thinks is a Skrull. He's kissing what looks to be, to me, a human being. Does he even know? That's the question.
That's a good question. So I think that what really this show had made me felt over the last couple of episodes is a sense of paranoia over what's real, what isn't. And that's what I think Nick Fury has been going into. And they actually did, some flashback stuff from the 1993. And of course, it goes without saying, Captain Marvel is the only must-watch MCU movie to understand this show, right? So I love the fact that they kind of go back and they show Nick Fury, and then the thing that makes me wonder is here's my theory: if Nick Fury is a Skrull, has he been a Skrull the entire time? That's where I was thinking, was that when he first appeared in Iron Man at the end in the Stinger trailer, was he a Skrull then?
But that makes no sense as to why he interacts the way he does with Captain Marvel in the Captain Marvel movie. Because then he's talking like, if he's a Skrull in that movie, he will know that Captain Marvel is allegedly Kree. He'll recognize the uniform. The only reason he's playing dumb is for the audience's point of view, and that's rubbish.
Here's my thought. He's not a Skrull in the Captain Marvel movie, but sometime in between the end of Captain Marvel and the first time he appears in Iron Man, he's replaced with a Skrull, or we don't know. I think that's the thing, that maybe I'm not the only one thinking that. Maybe you're supposed to think that.
Well, maybe, but then aren't Skrulls not supposed to have long-term memory? Yet in Winter Soldier, Fury and Pierce talk like they're old long-lost friends, and there is not one bit of subterfuge between that relationship from Fury's side. It's only until Pierce opens up and says something. But I'm just spitballing. So your theory is just as valid as anybody else's, Professor.
I love the inclusion of Maria Hill. I thought the end of episode 1 gave the series some depth. It gave it some feeling of maybe that there's a cost to this. I know Nick Fury is going to make it through because we saw him in the trailer for Marvels, but with Everett Ross, now we don't know if that was the real Everett Ross that died in the beginning of the first episode, or if that was a Skrull that was impersonating him. So we don't know. Same thing. Well, with Maria Hill, we knew she wasn't a Skrull because she didn't turn when she died. And then, I like Gaia. I like Talos. I like the whole idea of so Nick Fury has, at the end of Marvels, was helping this Skrull faction kind of integrate into Earth society, and he promises them he's going to find them a new home, and then that's the whole motivation for the villain. Is he left Earth, he went up to Sword, and he left the Skrulls there to fend for themselves. So also,
also the motivation is Fury. He's only out for 5 years, didn't he? That's the main thing.
Yeah, he blipped out. Yeah,
he blipped. Right. So the logic has been on the spaceship looking for planets. Yeah, you get that, but it's the 5 years left alone, because that's in episode 2 he says you went away, and it's you went away for 5 years. It's in reference to the other, depending on.
So I think there's a lot going on as far as the kind of a lot of backstory, and that's why I kind of think when you say watching paint dry, I kind of agree with you a little bit. It's a lot of exposition and a lot of getting through the story and the history of everything, and catching people that may not have seen Captain Marvel up to what's going on. But they did mention, to Lucas's point about superpowers, they did mention that they were trying to give the Skrulls those powers, and that they alluded to the Super Skrull, perhaps, and we're probably going to see that before the end of this. And this is a short show. This is only 6 episodes, but I do want to shout out, I love the fact that each episode's an hour, which we haven't seen a lot of in Disney Plus movies or Disney Plus shows. So the first 2 episodes were both a good hour piece. So I enjoy the actually having to sit down and getting to kind of immerse yourself in the episode and actually have some substance to it. I didn't think it was that. I did think it was that slow, but I enjoyed the history of the dialogue. I like the characters, and I'm looking forward to the next 4 episodes. So
Lucas, next time, just don't sit on your couch with a quilt over your knees, drinking the warm milk when you watch it next time. Maybe have some caffeine before you watch the show.
Yeah, you have to be. It's a commitment. All right. So let's jump into another opening this week. This is kind of a departure. we don't normally talk about this, but it's Lucas, it's Disney, it's not Marvel, but it's Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. Indiana Jones opened yesterday. It's the final time we'll see Harrison Ford wearing the hat and the whip. Um, I know, Johnny, you didn't see it, so we're not going to do a spoiler or a review of it. But Lucas, what did you think of Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny?
Yeah. Well, don't forget that Indiana Jones does have a Marvel comic book, so it's not necessarily the
Yes,
yeah, yeah.
from
So
way back.
yeah, so let me give you some context of it, the way I watched this. It was 9:30 at night on a work day.
Hmm.
I'd had a brutal day of working. We went there and I didn't fall asleep once. Right?
Was there any squirrels
As
in
I,
it?
you know, watched it the whole way through, and I think it felt like 3 hours because we didn't leave
It
till
was, yeah.
12:30, 12:40 or something like that, right? So let me tell you this. Let me put this up front. This is probably the best movie of the year. And I'm just putting it in front of Cross the Spider-Verse. I'm putting in front of Flash, of course, and all that other stuff that's out there, which I did enjoy, but I'm putting this in front of all that stuff. All right. Um, it's say hey, it's like it's one of these old man movies. Again, like, hey, he's
I
old
don't like
now.
the way you looked at me when you said that. Son of a.
Hey, I was looking at you, but if you felt some kind of way, that's all up to you. All right. It's like, hey, this is a guy who has had a absolutely presumptuous career. Freaking, he's done some stuff, and now he's at the end of the rope. Now it looks like they're trying to kind of hand it to the next generation, right? But yeah, they still got a way to go, right? So my once again, I was there with my wife and kids, and my wife and kids liked the action. My wife said, "Hey, she wanted more of a John Wick situation where it was him against the rest of the world. That's what she thought this guy was.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
the
Indiana Wick.
yeah,
Da-da-da-da.
the kids were all over the freaking comedy. They freaking love the comedy. But the problem is that with the whole Archimedes thing, which I freaking love, right? Because this is what it was all about, chasing the Archimedes and his whole history down, and truth to fact. Um, I love that, but they needed more of an explanation of his impact to the world before we actually really dove into that. So they probably should have went there, right? This would have made it historical. This would have made it must be in every high school type of freaking movie. But you know what they did do, it was definitely better than that Crystal Skull crap, right?
Mhm.
Um, but filmography, the cinematography, the way they matched the music up with everything was absolutely freaking good. So tops off to James Mangold for putting it together, and the writers Jess Butworth for all the research they did. As far as the acting, Harrison Ford still. I don't know how old he is. Is he 80 years
He's
old still?
he's 81. Yeah.
Good Lord, still. How is it that these guys, Robert De Niro, Al Pacino, are still doing anything? You got Tom Cruise out there. He's 60, right? He's still out there
He's
freaking
still
doing
he looks younger than me. Yeah.
it. These guys are still not doing out their thing. New up and comer, the lady that's supposed to be playing his goddaughter, Phoebe Waller-Bridge. She actually did well. I just don't like her face.
Well,
That's the
you know
problem.
what? If you get BBC America, sorry to interrupt, you need to watch a
Yeah,
show. So this isn't for kids, so bear that in mind. There's a comedy show called
Fleabag.
Fleabag. You
Yes, I
must
watched
watch
it.
Fleabag. It is brilliant. There you go.
Uh, oh, is she from that show?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, she's kind of like a William C.K. And when it comes to Fleabag, so it's interesting. What she
It's
was able
good
to put
fun.
together, right? Yeah, she did her acting thing. It's just that I just don't like her face. I'm sorry. Antonio Banderas, he showed up. They brought back Marion, Karen Allen. Way. I don't know why they even bothered with that. A little disappointed with what they did with Mason. She was a CIA agent on behalf of the U.S. government. Shawnette Renee Wilson. That was kind of disappointing. But you know what? I love what they did with a lot of the rest of the actors. I love what they're doing with the franchise, right? But I haven't heard whether there's other projects going on. But I tell you what, if this is the way they want to hand it off to the next generation, I think there's some stuff there they can do. Um, but I'm a little confused by the one kid. His name was Ethan Isidore. I'm not sure what race he is or whatever, but there could be
I think
some
that
stuff
was
there from the other.
intentionally. I think they intentionally made him look kind of. Uh, you didn't know what he was.
Yeah, yeah. I think he's is he
Was he
let's see. Yeah,
Hispanic?
he's a French actor of Franco Mauritanian Brazilian descent.
Okay, yeah,
So
he's he's a mishmash. Yeah.
yeah, he's got everything except for
Don't think you say mishmash in this day and age.
yeah. Mulatto. All right. Uh, but if they
Multiracial.
right if they wanted to hand it off
Multinational, maybe. We're all the
right
human race, remember?
yeah, if they wanted to hand it off to this kid, they needed to do just a little more, right? Because I'm not feeling handing it off to Phoebe yet. I need a little bit more from her. But if they wanted to hand it off to him, I got it. The interesting thing that was some signaling for the next generation is the straw hat. Because if you're a manga fan, you know what that straw hat is. That straw hat is Duffy from One Piece, and when One Piece, he's quite the adventurer, right? And there was this one freaking thing. Like this is not a spoiler. He was literally standing in with the shadow, doing the whole shadow thing with the One Piece hat, ready to freaking take on the world before he got his ass knocked out. So that could be definitely something that could definitely be something for him. But I don't know.
I missed
That's
that
all I got on
reference.
that one. Yeah, yeah. You got One Piece. You got to see One Piece. In fact, there was a trailer out there for One Piece. If you look at Professor, if you look at that One Piece trailer, you'll see what I'm talking about.
Okay. So my spoiler-free review of Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny is um, it's a trip down memory lane, really. I mean, this movie was made for nostalgia purposes. Movie was made for us to all remember what we were doing back in 1981 when the first one came out, and remember fondly the different characters, different settings, the kind of high notes of all the the Indiana Jones gimmicks with the maps and the death traps and the serial type cliffhanger. Does he or doesn't he make it? The tongue-in-cheek humor of the fight scenes. To me, it hit all of the notes for me. So it just made me remember what I loved about these movies. Harrison Ford, I mean, he was born to play Indiana Jones. No one else can play him. This is the last movie. He's not doing this again. Um, Even if they do some kind of CGI, I mean, which we've all seen in the trailer. So you do know that they do CGI and make him look younger. Um, and of course it's on a stuntman's body, because there's no way he was doing some of the stuff he was doing at the beginning of the movie. But I enjoyed this movie for what it was. Kingdom of the Crystal Skull was really kind of out there, but I know why they were doing that, because they were doing the pulp version of the Alien comics, and in the 50s that was what was out there. So I enjoyed it. I really kind of wish there was more. I know that this is the last one, so it kind of was like almost a bittersweet ending at the end, because I just knew that was the end, and that there wasn't going to be another Indiana Jones movie. So yeah,
Yeah, they
go
said the
see.
same thing. Yeah, they said the same thing about John Wick, but now they're already teeing up another one. So I don't believe these.
Yeah,
I don't
well,
believe these guys.
John, they can make another John Wick, because Keanu Reeves is only in his 50s, but they're not making another Indiana Jones movie unless he signs his rights over for his likeness, which I'm sure he did, or maybe they will. and they do a whole computer generated Indiana Jones movie, but I don't think that that's going to happen. So
Just think AI images with AI writing. Woo, that's entertainment.
oh good God. All right, let's take a quick break, and we're gonna check out this message from Mr. Robert Kirkman.
I'm Robert Kirkman, and I couldn't be more thrilled to see you shopping at Comic Crusaders. If you love great comics, you're going to want Void Rivals Issue 1 available now. Void Rivals launches the Energon universe featuring Transformers, G.I. Joe, and all new characters interacting in a new shared universe. You're going to love the surprises we've got planned for all your favorites in these new series from Skybound and Hasbro. Thank you for checking out Void Rivals, and make sure you come back here to get your new comics every week.
All right. Hey, make sure to check out Void Rivals by Robert Kirkman, and you can get it on Comic Crusaders. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
There
You know, it was it's actually it's one of the top of the year that's non-Marvel that's out there because it's got the Transformers, it's got this new story, it's the first appearance within Image as Image tries to go forward with these new Hasbro properties. So definitely, if we can think about getting a copy of either cover A or cover B, or if you're a big spender, is a 1/100 out there that's got Jetfire on the freaking cover, and that's notwithstanding this second print that's out there as well.
And it's a Transformers and G.I. Joe in a shared universe.
Yes, that's why it's wild. It's absolutely going to be freaking wild. So
One of the few properties that Marvel hasn't gotten back yet.
Yeah. So I mean, especially after when the Transformers Beast Wars come out, maybe 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, and in it they did in the what you talk about the end credit scenes, you did have GI Joe kind of be a thing.
Really?
After that, so for that to happen, and then for all of a sudden we have this comic book that's out there. I'm surprised Marvel didn't want to do that, but they said, all right, let Image have it and let them pay us. So we'll see what's going on, but definitely it's definitely one of the hottest books already within what last 2 weeks, I believe, is when Void Rivals came out. But it's definitely got the numbers.
All right. Let's talk a couple of Marvel comics that came out this week. Johnny, this was your pick, Avengers Beyond #4. Did I have to read the first 3 issues before I read this?
No.
Nope, not really. Well, I think we looked at the last one, did we not?
We did.
We looked at we looked at number 3.
Did we look at number 2? I don't know if we looked at number 3. Did we?
Yeah, number 3.
Yeah, it was number 3 that we looked at. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is a continuation written by Derek Landy, art by Greg Land, inks by Jay Leaston, Frank Diamata is on colours, and VC's Corey Pettit is on letters. There you go. What makes me laugh about this book, there's a couple of interesting points I thought in the whole thing. It wasn't that long ago we had the multiversal Avengers, where it was like Avengers versus Avengers versus Avengers versus Avengers. And this kind of idea raises its ugly head here a little bit with the Backstreet Avengers. That's right, Backstreet's back. All right. For all you 90s fans, thank you. Note to self: don't sing on a podcast again.
Oh, you could sing. You just need something a little bit more newer, right? We don't. Everybody doesn't have that '90s freaking. What was it? NSYNC and freaking Backstreet freaking Boys.
Backstreet Boys.
Back.
Yeah.
All right.
You know, Johnny's got the T-shirts in his closet still.
Well, Johnny has lots of.
He may not fit the same, but
Johnny has lots of things in his closet, and that's just leave that there.
Oh,
all right. Okay.
Let's not go there.
Hey, marital aids are marital aids. You know what I mean? Freaking, that's how you stay together.
Fishnets are fishnets. All right. So
extra large.
Well, no, I've got great legs. I'm fine. Thanks. So I absolutely thought the idea of the Backstreet Avengers absolutely charming. I thought it was fun. Something's going on with Cap. Cap has an idea. He's thinking the whole thing through rather than just reacting like the others are. I love the interaction with the Thors when they fight. It's like, so you think you're worthy? here, hold mine, and that's that sorted. Um, it's a bit of a throwaway issue, but again, I think this series is a bit of a throwaway series, to be honest.
Hmm.
I mean, you've got this going on, you've got the new Avengers book going on. At least this time around, as always in this title, the Avengers are the Avengers, so that's a good thing.
Yeah.
I love the idea of the Backstreet Beyond there as well. I think that kind of plays quite well if you're thinking about like the big bad in the whole thing. But it's just a slice of throwaway comic book fun. I quite enjoyed that to not have to worry about massive great arcs or having to
Yeah.
know everything that went before or any of that. I could just plug myself into the book, go for it. Greg Land's art works well, especially with Captain Marvel and She-Hulk, which you'd come to expect, to be fair, by now. But no, I thought I thought it was an interesting read. Well, I thought it was a fun read, and it just shows you the dearth of good books that Marvel have. That this makes the list every other fortnight it comes up. So
Hmm.
what's that tell you about Marvel? Yeah.
Well, yeah. Lucas, what did you think about Avengers Beyond? Oh, we lost you.
He's on mute.
I'm going to talk about this cover right here. Um, you've got the two She-Hulks, and you've got the one bootleg She-Hulk, and she's got her mouth open in a weird, suggestive kind of way. It's like, okay.
She's yelling. This is no different to
No, but
like
she's about to get fisted in the mouth, which has a very definitive fetish in Japan.
so does bootleg Cap at the bottom
And
there.
then you got Captain Marvel, and she's not punching her in the face; she's punching her in the boob. All right. And then you've got Captain America right below that, and they look like they're about to French kiss. Need a little doing a little cleanup on aisle 4 on this one. All right.
Hashtag there's like the world, there's gutter level, then there's Lucas looking up at the gutter level, wishing that he was in the gutter. He is that far below that to see all that in that cover. You are
Oh
yeah.
my goodness. But here's what I do like. I do like the concept of the bootleg Avengers. Um, all these other different Captain Americas and little Miss Marvels and you know different thing and the Thor's storylines that different storylines that we've had over the last 3 years. It should have started with this freaking thing, right? Should have started right here, and then you can push out like all those different Captain Americas. Like, hey, the Beyonder was messing around. He's pushing out his power to give. That would have actually made more sense. So I hate to say it, I really like this issue. I really like the concept of a bootleg Captain America. I like the concept of a bootleg Black Panther, and they're arguing over who was had to be the Black Panther, and hey, you don't want to racial profile and racial appropriate freaking Black Panther. It's like, well, he's a prince. Oh, I'm not really a freaking prince. In the meantime, the real Black Panther is not even a king anymore. So I thought that was kind of interesting, right? There's so many freaking things to like about this book. Like you said, hey, this is a one shot. I like without even remembering what the hell was going on in issue number 3, I was able to pick up this one right here and was like, all right, let's go. And I was into it. I was really freaking loving this. They maybe should have had one panel to kind of remind me who the hell Sal Annie is. Because I was too tired. I didn't feel like going back and figure out who this was. But you know what? This is pretty good. The ending, I didn't really need the ending for this to have that much of an impact, but if that's the way they want to go. That's what way we want to roll with it. Got it. But in the meantime, if he's lost his power, what about the bootleg? Do they lose their powers as well? I want to see what's that all about. I like this. I like the whole inner politics with regards to the other Beyonders. I thought that was amazing as well. But look, this is one of the best things that they've been doing as far as Avengers Beyond or Avengers right now. Got number one, got the Avengers in a freaking book. Number two, you got the Avengers actually doing something other than talking BS for a while. And there's some actual impact that they can freaking handle. So definitely liking this book.
There you go.
Yeah, I mean, I tend to agree with both of you. This is a good book for this week. The only, I mean, the Beyonder being the big bad, you know, the only thing is like there's always a bigger fish, right? So you have the Beyonder with the other Beyonders showing up and kind of taking his powers away. So I don't know. It's just to me that was the kind of I mean, that's the overall arc of this whole series is the Beyonder, but I liked this whole thing with the Avengers versus these bootleg Avengers too. So that I kind of looked at the Beyonder as being like the behind the scenes of the whole issue, even though he's kind of like the main character and he's narrating this whole issue too. So, but I enjoyed it. It's a good, shut your brain off and just read and enjoy it for the 10 minutes you're reading the book. So, what do we call it? A good toilet book,
Bath time reading.
bath time reading. There you go. So yeah, it's enjoyable, and the art is really good. I'll just go with you, Johnny, on that. Greg Land is this is the second coming of Greg Land, isn't it?
Yeah, and I know Greg Land has his detractors, especially from those who have ideas about using models or reference material to draw characters. It is the second arrival of him. To be honest, I think he's absolutely carving out a niche for himself. I'd love to see him on something a little bit more mainstream. I'd love to see him on an X book. Let's change the style up a bit and let's have some X book work from him rather than the ongoing assimilation of the various artists that work on X books to make them look all the same. Yeah,
True. All right, so that was the penultimate issue of Avengers Beyond. So we'll get the finale and the conclusion next month with number 5. But let's go into a book that did have a conclusion this week, and that was Silver Surfer Ghostlight. And this was written by John Jennings with art by Valentine DeLandro, colors by Matt Milla, letters by VC's Joe Sabino. And if you didn't like it, blame Kat Grigorowicz, Noah Sharma, and Darren Shan. But I don't think that you'll...
I'm blaming you. I'm blaming you for picking it. That's why I don't like it. I'm blaming you.
Oh, okay. Well, you can. But this was my pick of the week. I've absolutely loved this series, and I actually think that Ghostlight should get his own ongoing book. I think he's the best creation coming out of Marvel in the last couple of years. So, I mean, let's look back on this. This is a character that is created over 50 years ago. Al Harper, who was a minor character in the first volume of Silver Surfer by Stan Lee and John Buscema. So, for me, this is you're bringing this character back after 50 years. He's been dead, sacrificed himself to save the Silver Surfer when Surfer was trapped on Earth a million years ago, and here they're bringing him back. The Stranger had experimented on him. He's got superpowers now, and now he's back on Earth, and now the Stranger is after him, and his exposure to his relatives has given his niece and nephew superpowers as well, and the combined efforts of the Silver Surfer, Ghostlight, and their family end up defeating the Stranger, who is really under some kind of psychic manipulation. So he was by the end of this issue cured by the power of jazz music, as it is. And what I like about this is at the end, the future is really kind of bright for this character with a large supporting cast for him. So I kind of think going in here, he's got everything that Marvel today wants. He's a diverse character with diverse background, with some, he's not a copy of another character. He's not diluting some kind of a brand. I think this is the perfect character to for Marvel to hang their hat on going forward. Introduce him into some kind of DC and MCU, and just kind of run with it. I think this is a character that's built for a future fandom. So, Johnny, what are your thoughts on Silver Surfer Ghostlight?
I thought that the book. First of all, let me start with the art. I thought the art was terrible. I hate art where background characters have no face, and therefore it's kind of like, oh, what? The whole style just didn't do it for me at all. The writing, the writing screams. I'm not disputing what you're saying about being diverse or anything like that. What I am saying is the writing. The book needs one issue more. Somewhere along the line, about halfway through, the book turns from being all like, "Wow, this is happening," to then this happened, then this happened, then this happened, then this happened. It's show and tell, not show not tell, or tell not show even. It's like Straczynski's writing. On Babylon 5, Straczynski would rather tell you about a great event that has ramifications on everybody rather than just show it. And that's probably because of cost constraints for science fiction. This is a comic book. You have no such constraints other than the fact that you should have had another issue, and then that would have explained it. I dislike the use of the surfboard. I like it when the hammer stays with Thor, the shield stays with Cap, the web shooter stays with Spidey, Kit stays with Michael. I don't like other people playing with my toys. Thank you very much. And as for saying that the character is suited to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, that is exactly what is wrong with comic books nowadays across Marvel, DC, and independents, is that people are writing and creating comic books with the idea to think, oh, as soon as we got this character, we're going to ship him to Netflix, or we're going to make a TV show, we're going to make a movie, we're going to do this. As if you're pouring scorn on the idea that comic books themselves can just be comic books and enjoy them for being comic books. If people want to make movies, get yourselves over to Hollywood, people. Go make movies. Don't purloin the things I love so much, then make them an absolute mediocre version of what you've used, and then call it the same. Have we not just been talking about Secret Invasion? Have we not just been talking about that earlier today? How it has no impact on, no reference to the actual series that it takes its name from? No, enough. Comics are comics. Let's make comics for making comics' sake, not let's make comics to see if we can flog it to somebody else to make a movie out of. There you go. I'm done.
Lucas.
Sorry.
This, I agree with Johnny on this one. The art was hard to see, and then it was topped off by terrible freaking lettering. You had this all-seeing, freaking all-encompassing entity, and lettering was the same as a regular old Joe. In the meantime, what I was looking for was the big question, right? And I guarantee you it's been answered before, but not visually, was what happened to Sweetwater, right? That was supposed to be the whole big thing that draw everybody with. Hey, something happened to Sweetwater. What happened to Sweetwater? But instead of like kind of walking me through what happened and why these people are forgotten, you just had this big blob thing, and they're just fighting the Ghostlight and Silver Surfer. So I'm Daddy, I'm tired. I'm tired, Daddy. You need to freaking just walk me walk me up the steps and put me to freaking bed on this one, because I can't see where they're going with this. Now, as great a character as this has the potential to be, this is not going to happen in this book. They need to put him off on somewhere else and with some other team or something like this, so we can feel like the true potential of this dude. Because right now I'm looking at this cover right now and I'm thinking, hey, what's a Green Lantern character doing in a Marvel book right now?
I think that when Mr. Miracle shows up in the first 3 pages, I'm like, oh, Mr. Miracle.
Yeah. So So right now, and then they try to make sure everybody understood that he's black. Oh, you want to get everybody to understand that he's black? Let's put in some jazz music to save the freaking day. No, what is this? What is this? The Care Bears? What is this?
Put
My
the
Little
Backstreet
Ponies?
Boys on.
You
Backstreet
know,
Boys would save the day.
you know, not some R&B. Not some hip hop. Let's put on some old ass jazz that nobody still alive listens to anymore. Let's some John Coltrane. Like, I don't know, man. So I don't know. So let's. I'm glad they ended it soon, right at issue number 5. Good to go. But let's put this character in some other freaking book so we can figure out like who this guy is or what we can do with this because it's got potential, right? It's got great stuff that can happen. I just didn't feel it from this book because the book was so terrible in the writing and the art. It was unreadable for me.
You want to make this character interesting? Let Doctor Doom take a swipe at him, because Doctor Doom used to be all about the power cosmic.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So you want to get him involved in the Marvel universe. Let Doom would be kind of like, ooh, there's more power cosmic available. Oof, and off he goes. And he might think he's an easier catch than the Surfer because he hasn't managed to capture the Surfer for any length of time, at least not for a while. So
That sounds interesting. Maybe that'll be the second story arc if Ghostlight ever makes another appearance after this.
but if that's the case, Marvel, I want my money, man. Yeah. Check please to the machine, and I'll be
Well, there you go. I seem to be the dissenting opinion today.
Well, maybe you know what? I missed a week, right? So I've got to get back to my grumpy self after having fun for my charity event. So I've got to get back to my grumpiness. So it's fine.
All right. Well, and we don't. Did you want to say something, Lucas, about the new issue of Thor? I know, like, we both did not read it, but I know you said you wanted to mention something.
Yeah, so right there on the cover of issue number 35, there's that obsidian weird freaking glove that everybody's been tracking ever since these other Thor, where you had Thanos with that same glove on it. Everybody's been wondering what the heck that is, what's going on with that. The storyline so forth for like the last few issues has been um, Doom has been going across the universe, going to these weird time rifts in order to try and steal that little stone right there. That stone is the Death Stone, right there. Because Thor's grandfather Bor was the one that was doing this weird ritual in order to make it. I gotta go back and see what he was trying to do that for. Um, I don't remember exactly what it was for. Was it to defeat the trolls or whatever? But I know he was also fighting. Um, what's the name of the Venom God as well? No, he was also
No.
fighting Null at the same time. So I'm not sure if that had anything to do with it. So he builds the Death Stone, and it actually turns into Hela, who is like an actual entity right now. And then you've got this weird back and forth of these different elements of Thor mythology, of Nordish mythology that they're laying out. They're, the most interesting part of this freaking book was Mora, which was this little spider, which is the spider of fate, which is of course tied into the whole cross Spider-Verse thing because it's not just a whole bunch of spider people running around. They all kind of run the lines of fate and everything. And there's the Spider Weaver and all this other stuff. They even referred to Mora as the Anansi, which is the African spider god, who also decides fate as well. So that was kind of interesting. But then there was just so much stuff that they threw in this freaking book that was very incoherent. But I will tell you what didn't happen is we didn't have Hela with this thing right here, um, which is crazy because that stone right there, that's her. So that's where they need to walk us to. They need us to walk. Okay. We told us that stone is her, but the stone didn't end up being her because she just ended up being a person. Tell us how we get to her because you're right now you're lying to me with this freaking cover. I thought this is where we were gonna find out. In the meantime, we got Thor's dad. He's kind of back. He's in Valhalla, but he's dead. He's doing all types of weird stuff. He says, "Hi, I'm going to lead the troops." Okay, to where? What are you guys doing? So, right now, Thor is the most incoherent freaking mess that's out there. I know where you think you want to go, but it's so incoherent. I can't freaking grasp, and I can't recommend it to anybody right now. It's so weird, and it's a shame because Al Ewing and Donny Cates, they tried very hard, 2 years ago, to say, okay, this is the way this thing's work now, and now these other writers are coming in and they're just throwing stuff all over the place, man. So it's just weird, man.
I haven't read the book. I'm not a big Thor fan, but I will say that Hela looks absolutely gorgeous on the cover. So, if you like that sort of thing.
Just make you want to be dead. Go see her.
Well, that's the one thing about the afterlife, right? People are dying to get in.
That's true.
I like how I got a bum there. Thanks to that.
There's some silence there after that. All right, let's. So you said that the 2-minute warning is going to be really short. So let's
Have at it.
Have at it.
All right, here we go. This, according to Terra Peak, these are the hot books this week. Elf Quest. It is the 45th anniversary of Elf Quest, but we're not sure why people are going crazy over these Elf Quest books, particularly the Marvel Elf Quest books. So something is brewing. We just don't know what. Because for the last 3 weeks, 120 books have sold for Elf Quest #1 on that Marvel Elf Quest. Also,
is it one of those books that goes in those, like, the geek packages? Do you remember a couple of years ago there was a comic about, what's that TV show where the girls cloned all the time?
I don't know.
It's the actress that you really like who played She-Hulk.
The chick from
Orphan. Yeah. That #1 issue was in one of those merchandise boxes where where you spend $25 or whatever it is, and you get like a box. And for 1 month, that comic was the #1 selling comic in the country, primarily because it was stuck in all those boxes.
That's interesting.
Okay. We just had the commercial from Mr. Stegman for Void Rivals #1. That one's in there as well. And #2, not at the numbers that ElfQuest is, but it's pretty good. Incredible Hulk #1, that Nick Klein cover A. That was that first appearance of Cassie. We don't know what the deal with is, but she's already got dropped at least one body. She's already dropped one body on that one. Doc Strange #6, that Emma Lupacino. Wonder Woman #9. And Spider-Man #7, the third print, Vecchio variant, that first appearance of Spider-Boy, coming in there.
He just announced his own. He's getting his own book, Spider-Boy.
He is, yes, sir. He is getting his own book. So don't think he's just one of those Spider characters that's up and going away. He does have his own book coming out. The big book that people need to keep an eye on is that Spider-Gwen annual #1, Ji-Hung Lee. It's not on FOC yet. It's not out yet, but this one is going to be a monster because not only have I've seen good sales for the open order book, but there's also a 1/100 that's going to be out there. Same art, probably most likely a virgin. And let me tell you, people are saying this is a freaking gorgeous book, a must-have right now.
But what's your views on the whole Spider-Gwen is trans? Are we not caring about that one way or the other?
What?
What? You've not
Explain.
Heard all right. So across the Spider-Verse, in her room.
Okay, I get it. Yeah, the trans flags and stuff like that. Yeah.
The colors that she wears in her uniform are also the trans flag.
So we're to think that she's trans in the movie instead of maybe just a trans supporter.
That's the rumors.
Okay.
I'm not sure. Yeah.
Now here's where it gets crazy, right? Because at one point they were messing around with Peter Parker, whether he's bi and all that other stuff. So it could be something where she's just supporting him or one of her friends that could be trans and bi and all that.
Could be.
So
it's just interesting how that's how good Spider-Verse is. That's the big message. It's the reason it's been pulled in Arab countries because of this.
just because of the imagery.
Yep.
Oh,
And because
it's interesting.
Of what it could actually mean to the characters. So
Okay.
yeah.
I missed that stuff. All right.
Oh, sorry to interject. Carry on, Lucas.
Yeah, you got me looking up articles and everybody saying yes, that means that she is trans, everything. Okay. Well, I guess you're about to see a bunch of sell-offs of of her first appearance in a little while. Something Spider-Man 28, Carnage, Reigns, Omega, and Ghost Rider number 15. Modest numbers, but something to keep an eye out on. All right, here's stuff that's coming out this week. One of these actually came out this past week. Captain Marvel, Dark Tempest number 1 and 200, Rose Beige. There's also an open order cover A that has the Rose Beige, but it's got like a white background as well.
She's pretty hippie there.
I'll tell you
Yes.
now. I have pre-ordered all three. I think there's three Captain Marvel number 1, Dark Tempest, where she's wearing the old Miss Marvel costume.
Yeah, I've seen that one. In fact, I got that one sitting around over here. Looks really good.
How I'm going to buy 3 copies of the same comic with my wife now, and I have no idea.
Then Edge of Spider-Verse number 4, 125, Bianchi just looks fire. But then the Extreme Venomverse number 4, this one came out this past week. First appearance of that little Venom girl. No, fun little story, but still first appearance. 125. So this
It's
one has
Venom
already
Quinn, isn't it? I think I said this last time. It's Venom Quinn.
Venom Quinn. Well, this is nothing. We're laughing, but it's nothing to laugh at right now. It's like $150 freaking book already, which is really astounding for a 1 in 25. Usually, you see 1 in 25 go for either 12 bucks or 25 bucks. This one's at 125 to 150 bucks right now. People just didn't order. So I don't know what the heck happened. All right, so for the year, top 50 of the year, I'm still formulating this list. That Incredible Hulk. Actually, this was a what if. This was one of those Disney 100 freaking books. That one definitely has freaking interesting numbers on this one. Then we got that Ultimate Invasion. This one actually just came out maybe a week or 2 weeks ago. Definitely the numbers are with this one. Silk number 1, and this is the one where she's actually freaking torturing Tinkerbell with this one, 125 by Peach Momoko. Loki Art Germ, you dirty perverts are all over this freaking book. There's the open order one, and there's also one in 100. Dead, Batter, Blood, whatever. This was the first appearance of Shadowstorm. This one, but people actually want Scotty Young. That Star Wars Yoda, that Takashi Okazaki, the one with Yoda up in the tree, just looking badass, ready to kill somebody. Star Wars number 35. I forget the name of the guy who's first appearance in this one, but this is the one with Luke Skywalker with the red thing and the lightsaber, and then the green lightsaber. But then the second appearance has both red. Go ahead.
You know what would make that a better comic cover is if the red saber was in his right hand, because that's the hand he lost in the fight to Vader. That would make more sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But did he lose his hand at this point? I'm not.
Well,
I'm not sure if he lost it.
This is set between Star Wars. This is set between Empire and Jedi. So I'm
yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
This cover is fire. I've said this from the get-go.
It is. This is part of the Red Blooder, whatever. There's one of this. So there's the open order, and then there's the 1 in 25 second print that's out there, man. People have been all over.
I would put that on my wall. I would get a poster and put it on my wall.
That for me is the cover of the year for Marvel. It is gorgeous.
Okay.
Hang on.
Yeah. And then the Amazing Spider-Man. So this one was the death of Miss Marvel. People, even though there's the one that was the spoiler one that definitely had the units, this one just overtook it. People just love this one, and this one freaking has definitely outsold. I think we're going to see a price increase on this one for a secondary order, so keep an eye out for that one.
I'm selling mine if anybody wants to Twitter me at Johnny Hughes 70. DM me. I'll send you my copy, as well as the other 25 issues that went before it. Thank you.
Storm number 125, Torrin Clark Storm on a motorbike. This one is Spider-Man number 7. This one was
Spider-Man, isn't it?
Yeah, Spider-Man number 7. This one, there was a spoiler variant where we didn't know till the very last minute what was going on in this one. First appearance of Spider-Boy, just also a second print 125 by Humberto Ramos. Then there's the Silk number 1, David Nakayama. This one is also has a pretty good increase. It's jumping in between 75 to $100 for this one already. Group number 1 on Peach Momoko. This is another entry into the Star Wars Darth Vader redder, better, blacker freaking. This one was a 1/100.
I don't like that one so much.
And then this one is the Black, White, and Red number 1. This one, I believe, was the cover B for this one. Definitely a lot of detail to this one. Street Academy Finals number 6. This one was Emily Bright. Scotty Young. It looks good. People were like, "Oh, this is the first appearance of her as this," but actually, the one was before this in issue number 5, where she actually got those freaking powers and started freaking just going off kind of crazy. And then this one, I forget. This was
Alex Ross.
Yeah, this is an Alex Ross, but I forget the one. Rebirth. What's the name of the guy? Not Warlock. There you go. Warlock Rebirth. Issue number 1/100. First appearance of Eve. This one is a sleeper because this is the first appearance of a character. And this is a 1/100, but she's not on the cover. In fact, people actually prefer the second one, issue number 2, which is where she's on the cover. This one did not sleep by anybody. This one was that freaking Spider-Verse John Jane. This was a 1/50, and there was an open order. People were just eating up both of them. Wakanda freaking number 4 issue. Oh, excuse me, Wakanda issue number 4. This one was the first appearance of Kimei. This one was the second appearance, and it's got her on the freaking cover. Those Disney 100s keeps coming in. This one was the What If Fantastic Four homage, and then big pimping for, I guess this one definitely has the earmarks of the cover of the year.
I have this cover. This cover.
The Sins of Sinister art germ with old girl just saying either come here, come hither. There was the open order joint, which is still selling really well, just ridiculous freaking well. But then there's also the 1/100. We'll start to see what the prices for those are once the 9/8s start coming out. So this one is definitely cover of the year so far. Forget what else you heard.
Now we mentioned it before. Is art germ? That's AI art, isn't it?
He is not. He's actually pissed at people because he's been doing this for a while. He actually has these workshops where he shows people how he draws stuff. And
it is digital, but which is fine.
He draws the stuff by hand. Yeah, he draws it by pencils, and then he fills stuff in later. But yeah, he definitely does pencils. He's actually talked about it. Like it's crazy that people call him AI and all the computer digital, but no, he even has a workshop where he shows other people how to draw with pencils and all the other stuff. And people are just like, "Oh man, your AI is amazing." Like, well, nah, he's been doing this stuff before AI and digital stuff was a thing. So,
what number of Sinister is this? Number 1.
Number 1.
All right.
So there we go. That was a 2-minute warning.
All right. Well, thanks for that. It wasn't as short as we thought. All right.
Trying to wrap up the year.
All right. So thank you all again for joining us for this episode of No Prize Podcast. We will be back in a fortnight. Until then, enjoy your 4th of July. I know it's just another day for you, Johnny, but
happy kick out the British Day.
Yes. Yes. So enjoy that, and we will see you in 2 weeks.
Adios.
Nope.
Adios.